Hi everyone, this is Abel. Welcome back to my channel. It's time for my collection of self-published science fiction and fantasy books. Abel from the future here again. This is actually the second part of the original video. I had to split it in two because it was too long. If you haven't seen the first part of the video, you'll find a link in the description and the same link at the end of this video. But before we start, remember that if you like science fiction and fantasy, especially space opera and big, huge, epic fantasy books, this channel is the perfect place for you. Leave a like if you like this video, consider subscribing if you want to see more. Another debut author is Joshua Scott Edwards with An Ocean of Others, which is the first book in the Dance of the Sibling Sons. I have read a digital arc for this, and then I liked it so much that I went and bought this amazing physical copy because the illustration from Flix Ortiz, it was so catchy and it looks so good on my shelf. This is an epic fantasy mixed with a bit of a dark fantasy with a urban setting, at least in the beginning, which was very fresh for me and very original. And if you have listened and if you have in any way followed the author, you'll see that this was originally a Dungeons and Dragons campaign that he reworked and adapted to be told in this format, and you can feel the vibes of a role-play settings and the role-play dynamics, but this is very much a novel. So even if you don't know, if you know nothing about role-playing and the dynamics on Dungeons and Dragons, you will actually enjoy it pretty well with no problems. This is about a bounty hunter, the last bounty hunter of the city when the beginning of the story takes place in, and he stumbles on he has one job gone really wrong and he stumbles in some kind of a conspiracy, let's say. And I don't want to say more about the story because this is that kind of a story when you say a word too much, you're going to ruin it. It is a very complex world building. It has a pretty large cast with very well-rounded characters. Most of them are exactly morally gray. This is really a story that straddles the line between good and evil. So if you like epic fantasy that has a bit of a dark fantasy and a bit of eldritch atmospheres, let's call it can be spooky sometimes, this is the perfect book for you. And Joshua Scott Edwards, it's an author that you should keep an eye on it because he has very good writing skills. This was really enjoyable, and I know that he's actively working on book 2. I've been following him on I'm one of his subscribers to his newsletter, so I hope I will be between the first to put my hands on a digital arc for book 2. So Joshua, if you're looking at this video, this is a slightly menacing way to let you know I'm available to read the book before all the other peasants. So I liked book 1 and I'm pretty sure book 2 will be even better than this one. So check it out. One is a chunker. It is the 7th Cadence. It's part of a series that is called The Continua Chronicles, Book 1 by Jim Wilbourne, which is not only an author but a very good booktuber, so go on and check his channel too. The only thing I know about this book is that it is beautiful. This was definitely a cover buy, and then it was described in a way like something akin or similar to the vibes and the structure of the Wheel of Time books. And that is basically everything I need to be attracted by a book. And it is a shame that I haven't been able to read it sooner and faster, because I bought it, no, someone gifted this to me. Yeah, it was on my wish list on Amazon. And I was so happy about it because it looks amazing. And I'll read you a little bit about the blurb because, of course, I know very little about it. It's an action-packed epic fantasy adventure, perfect for fans of Brandon Sanderson, Brent Weeks, and Robert Jordan, of course. After a supernatural and unforeseen calamity shatters the tentative alliance of the Five Realms, the Desert Dominions has returned to take back their homeland and restore their oppressive regime. As the Dominion rides their troop for invasion, the fate of the entire world rests in the hands of a fugitive scientist, a powerful pacifist, and an unseasoned prince with a little to guide them but their own ideas. So, multi-perspective, really long, absolutely gorgeous outside, and it has a nice formatting on the insides too. So yeah, I had to prioritize this because it looks and sounds amazing. We Break Immortals by Thomas Howard Riley. I'm not ashamed to say that this is totally a cover by and that I know absolutely no, I know very little about this. I know it's a darker fantasy, that it makes the trope of the epic fantasy with some kind of an investigation, because the main cast is following a guy that it's kind of a serial killer. I hope that YouTube doesn't ban me for saying that. You can say serial killer, right? Yeah, so they're trying to follow and catch the serial killer that is going to become a god, a dark god. So imagine that kind of a person acquiring that kind of power. It looks very interesting and very original for me. It is very long, it is a very nice edition. So, and I know that the author is writing book 2. No pressure, take your time, write the best book ever. So yeah, We Break Immortals. The Dark That Dwells by Matt Digman and Ryan Roddy. This is a space opera, space fantasy described, like science fantasy and space fantasy. I know very little about this, no shame. It was so aesthetically pleasing and it was very cheap on Amazon. I had this book in my library for quite some time, and I'm just honestly waiting to have news about book 2 to start reading it, because this was published a couple of years ago. I know that Digman and Roddy, they had a child lately, so they've been busy, and I don't fault them for that, but I'm waiting to have news about book 2 to start reading this, because it looks like this is a series. This is very heavily serialized, so I don't want to commit to book 1 until I'm sure I will be able to read the whole story. At least be reasonably sure to read book 2 or eventually book 3 and so on and so on. But it looks pretty. Dragon Mage. This needs no introduction. This was on everyone's radars. It was a huge bestseller. It has an amazing cover. You know how we roll on this channel, what usually happens. So if a book is pretty, if it has epic fantasy vibes, and a synopsis that says that it is vaguely interesting for me, I'm going to buy it, at least on an ebook format and probably on a physical format too. So this is being referred as a very classic epic fantasy story with a twist, because it looks like one of the main protagonists should be 2. It is a neurodivergent person. So, and it looks like that the characterization of that part of him, it's been done very good. So it makes it extremely original on that side. And then I know that there is dragons, that it is big, that it is epic, that it is beautiful, and nothing else. Sue me! This has to be the prettiest book I have in my indie books collection. Especially if you like me, the epic feeling of a old style book cover. They tried to catch that atmospheres and the vibe from the Wheel of Time and from that period in the 90s where you had this kind of type font, and this kind of illustrated cover. It is absolutely incredible. It is a huge chunker, and you will think that this is an illegitimate son from the Wheel of Time and the Way of Kings, because it gives exactly that kind of vibes. I'm gonna show you a little bit on the inside. It is nice. It is amazing. Nice cover, amazing formatting. This is a very classic, epic fantasy story about dragon, about a huge and expansive world. I know that there is an audiobook with this, and with huge chunkers like this, I usually have a better experience with audiobooks. So I'm happy to have this in my collection because it is so nice, but I'm pretty pumped, pretty eager to listen to the audiobook. Now, I know that there was an offer, a special offer on the official website about this, to have a bundle for the audiobooks of book 1 and for the prequel 2 that I'm going to show you in a bit. So I'm probably going to buy that, and I think they're going with a Kickstarter for the publication of book 2. I don't remember the titles, I'm sorry, but now I'm showing you the prequel. This is The Prisoner of Tardalim, and I think it is set a couple of years prior to the book 1 that I showed you a few moments ago. This is a little bit smaller, but it looks amazing. It has an amazing illustration. So I know absolutely nothing about this aside the fact that it is a prequel. So I wonder if it is better to read this one before reading A Princess Errand. Maybe. And I'm just realizing that maybe this is the first time that I mentioned the title of that book, A Princess Errand. This is The Prisoner of Tardalim. So, if one of you guys, the Zangaris, have been watching to this video, give me your suggestions. Let me know. But they look amazing on my shelf. Yeah. The Blood of the Spear by Mark Timmony. You probably feel sick of me saying that this was a cover by and that it was because the authors mentioned that The Wheel of Time was a huge inspiration for him. Yeah, I'm not ashamed about it. I'm pretty happy because this is the kind of book I love. And it has words on the back from Jenny Wirtz. She says that this is smoothly written, well presented, and it is big, it is chunker, it looks like it has a huge scope, and I know nothing else about it. But let's give it a try. I'm hoping to read it pretty soon, and I'm pretty sure that many of you have the same condition as me. And if a book is pretty and it is remotely similar to something else that you enjoyed, you're going to give it a try and buy it. But this is beautiful, and I would love to have more time everywhere, every day and every year to read books and be the kind of people that can stay all night long awake reading books. I'm not that kind of man. I'm a huge fan of sleeping. Now, let's hope that that huge double stack that I have near me doesn't fall and it ends this video in tragedy. So I'll quickly mention a few more indie books I have on my Kindle so that you can screenshot it and maybe have a few more suggestions. I have Meta by Tom Reynolds, Tolagon by Gregory Benson, Space Riders by Ken Lozito, Mercury's Shadows by PJ Garcin, Wistful Ascending by J.C. Byrne, Moon Deeds by Palmer Pickering, The Beast Hunters by Christopher Lande, The Soul's Aspect by Mark Holloway, The Legend of Black Jack by A.R. Witham, and The White Tree by Edward W. Robertson. That's all I've got for you this time. Thank you for sticking till to the end of the video. This was my indie books collection. If you want to see my most recent book haul, you'll find the link at the end of the video. And remember that every interaction counts. Every like, every comment really helps the channel a lot. And remember also that if you like science fiction and fantasy, especially space opera and big, huge epic fantasy books, this channel is the perfect place for you. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!